Welcome to Coach in Asia. So let me introduce you to our next speaker. Joining us from India, Hyderabad. We have Gubba Kiran, who's the CEO and director of a company called Gubba Cold Storage. This is a company that he founded 26 years ago back in Hyderabad in India. So he has been doing this for a long time. Gubba is the CEO. He's running this company focusing on cold storage in the Indian market. Today's session for Gubba is called Pharmaceutical Preservation in a Cold Storage. So welcome, Gubba. Go ahead.
Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to the various industry folks out there across the globe and our country in India. Let me introduce a little about myself. I am Gubba Kiran, Director and CEO in Gubba Pharma Cold Storage in Hyderabad in India. And I'll introduce myself a little more later. First of all, let me thank Global Supply Chain Council and its, Max and LV also for giving me an opportunity to speak on their platform on what's happening in the Indian pharmaceutical preservation in India. Thank you, guys. So to begin back of a little about Gubba, let me share my small PPT. Yeah, thank you. I'll be speaking on the challenges and opportunities of a preservation in a cold storage. And yeah, typically, let me introduce ourselves. I'm Gubba Kiran, and as I said, we started a journey in the seed industry in 1998 and typically a cold storage industry in 1987. So 33 years of existence. Probably we belong to that 5% of the organized sector in India who preserve various critical products, including pharmaceuticals, food, fresh fruits, and so on. 22 years in seed industry, been there, done that. Mastered the art of seed preservation in this part of the country, and including the world started trusting us. The multinational companies like the Pioneer, now it's known as Corteva, the Monsanto, Bayer, CP Seeds, UPL, Syngenta, and so on. These are the few clients who the world started trusting us for our seed preservations for the past 22 years. Been there, done that. We were virtually catalysts for the growth of the Indian seed industry from 5,000 crores to 15,000 crores and became the generic name in the Indian seed industry. 2.5 years before, somewhere in 2018, sleepy afternoon, we started thinking about the pharmaceutical preservation. Why not get into pharma? When we started scratching the surface of the pharmaceutical preservation in this part of the country, in Hyderabad, the pharmaceutical industry for the past 30-40 years started preserving their critical vaccines or APIs or FG or so on in their in-house cold storage facility. Because the trust of the trust was not delivered from the cold storage industry and or the logistics industry to the pharmaceutical industry. Because the pharmaceutical industry wanted something very crucial things, which the industry didn't focus much. We at Gubba started looking at what's needed for preserving a pharma, understanding the language of a pharma. And finally, our 4,400 pallets cold storage facility came up, a pharma compliant facility came up 2 years ago. So that's little about the Indian, our journey to pharma. This is a 1.5 ton or a 2 ton jumbo bag or a floor facility, cold storage facility for seeds. Typically, the racking system, that is how pharma cold storage also looks. Yeah, this is a typical single floor cold storage facility. I mean, you might be having some, say, 5,000 pallet positions in that cold storage facility with around 75,000 square feet. Yeah, this is a typical, pharma compliant GDP facility. Yeah, to preserve pharma, these are the various temperatures which are required. Of course, 1525 degrees is a big daddy of the pharmaceutical preservation. These are the various inventory reports which are needed to take pharma on board. Because any reports, inventory reports are the nerve of the pharma industry. Before I forget, I apologize. This is for all the attendees. Please do ask any questions in the chat box out there. I will answer them. I will try to answer most of them, but please do answer what's needed coming up in the chat box. Thank you. Yep, these are the critical things which you need to run a pharmaceutical cold storage facility. 21 CFR data loggers, and these are the technical reports which are needed to get a pharma company on board. In fact, we are very proud to say that in the last 2 years, we had a zero excursion in our cold storage facility in preserving pharma, and we are very proud about that. Even during lockdown of the pandemic situation, whatever we were undergoing, the team were undergoing, the alarming circumstances, the challenging circumstances, we all bared and ensured that 24/7, the temperature and the humidity was maintained in our various cold storage facilities, including pharmaceutical. And we are very proud of our team. These are the various products which can be stored in a pharma cold storage facility. These are the various pharmaceuticals APIs which can be stored, just to give you a sense. Yeah. You have to be a WHO DGB certified warehouse or a cold storage facility, else the pharma will not trust you. And yeah, it's nice to have a HACCP or a ISO certifications. In fact, I recommend for the facilities to go for a US FDA guidelines or a EU GDP guidelines. In fact, going a little forward, like, I mean, even in Gubba, we are also planning to go for AEO, Authorized Economic Operator certifications, or CIEB certifications, or CTPAT for safety certifications. All these certifications are in place. That is where the trust of the pharma world comes to you. Regulatories, very important to serve pharma. In fact, I keep telling the pharmaceutical people from the Indian cold chain industry, core competency is where the top 500 companies believe in. The Fortune 500 companies believe in the core competency, and that is what I keep communicating to the pharma world out there. You produce the best drug, the best vaccines for my family and for my nation. We will take care of the rest. The logistics, preserving it 24/7 in the needed temperature, all at 365 days, that's our job, because we are specialized for that. It makes sense to outsource because you have some specialty people like Gubba in India who can take care of your non-core items, like preserving your vaccines or APIs or the packaging material or the FG in a cold storage facility or a refrigerated warehouse. Now, it's good to have regulatories in a cold storage facility where the imports can be stored, the export can be stored, the SEZ material or the EOU material, and so on. That will have a added advantage to the client to suddenly think of expanding his business to either import few pallets or export few pallets, park there, and so on. Yeah, safety is very much very, very critical in the pharmaceutical industry, and this is what we follow. We also have the change rooms to suit what's needed to handle pharma. And these are the various packages which are stored in our facility. We have a separate, you should have a separate place for having damaged or rejected material. Yeah, so what I would like to harp upon here is India is gearing up. India is gearing up for preserving pharma. India is ready. Let me take up to the top of my presentation. Yeah, India is ready. I'll stop, share my video here. Yeah. India is getting ready to handle the world pharmaceutical industry. And even the cold storage industry or the logistics industry is fast catching upon with the pharmaceutical industry, going toe to toe on what's needed to serve the Indian pharmaceutical industry. And the Indian pharmaceutical industry serving the world out there. Thanks to this pandemic where the webinars have brought the world together in one platform. In fact, since the lockdown, I mean, at least the industry where we are in the cold storage industry, we didn't have the luxury of a lockdown. We were no less than COVID warriors, giving the correct drug in the correct temperature to a person who needs it. Right from day one, we didn't have the luxury of the lockdown. We were up on our heels all throughout the lockdown period, whatever India had, even in lockdown 1, serving what's needed for the nation and the world out there. The world wanted medicines from India. We, the industry, stood parallelly. The cold storage industry, the warehouse industry, or the reefer logistics industry, or any logistics industry stood toe to toe, matched toe to toe to give what's needed to the world. In fact, we do have emotions. As any other human being on the planet, we do have emotions. We have fears. We kept addressing the fears. We kept speaking to our family, reaching out to our family, telling our families that we have to leave our homes to go and look what's needed for the industry. And that's how we bared all the challenges, all the emotions, everything, all the commotions, all the confusions, right from day one of the lockdown. Not even one day our facility was shut from the day of lockdown, not even one day. And we are very proud of it. Our team was out there, up there, in looking and doing what's needed. The India was up there and doing what's needed for the world pharmaceutical industry. We are no less than the COVID warriors out there. And I'm very proud to be with the industry which stood in this pandemic situation. In fact, we, the management and the industry, kept listening out to the people, be there for people. In fact, in the various webinars, I was speaking to people stating, be there for people. This is the time where a human being needs the support and the listening of a human being. Be there. Because the emotions were high, the fears were high, the anxiety was high. All the more it's important to stand for your team, be there for your team, give an experience that you're there for them. At Gubba, we dismantled ourselves maybe 100 times in those 2 months and gave what's needed for the other human being who is working on the court to ensure the drug reaches to a patient or the needy. Then we did a couple of webinars. We were talking about LCL, less cargo consolidation or a full cargo consolidation. Due to pandemic, the cargo flights had to come down. The volume came down drastically, and the cargo flights have gone up. And in that situation, we started speaking to the world, communicating, hey, let's go for LCL, less cargo consolidation. Maybe the important one, the quicker ones, you can send it out by air. The less, where you don't have a challenge of timelines, let's send it through LCL. send it through sea, through a container. That makes real business sense. In fact, the industry has acknowledged that and started moving towards the LCL consolidation. In fact, we also started talking about the kitting zone, where the world can depend on India to kit their material, bring what you call your various pharmaceutical products, kit them, and then export it to the other countries where they are needed, whether it's an aided material or humanitarian cargo. Coming on, again, coming back to our topic, last 40 years, the pharmaceutical industry, as I said, did not trust the Indian cold storage industry for preserving the critical pharma. But the world out there is a little more matured than India, at least the developed countries. In the world, in West and parts of course, South Asia and so on, we do have a good quality pharmaceutical warehouses and cold storage facilities. In India, we are not that fully equipped. Now we started equipping ourselves. We would say, like, why on earth you want to set up a warehouse facility? You want a 5,000 pallets of a custom bounded in-bonded warehouse. We have got. Overnight, you want 1,000 pallets of a custom bonded outbound warehouse. We have it. You wanted 500 pallets of SEZ material to be stored. We have it. You wanted some labeling activity. We want it. You want to do some kitting zone. We want it. We have it rather. You wanted to store your SEZ material or your EOU material or your FG material, or you want a pharma sampling room. We have it. Indian cold storage industry, pharma, is emerging. It's time to outsource and stick to your core competency. Put your best people into your core competency. Produce the best drug and give the non-core items to people like us. In fact, the industry started trusting us. For the past 2 to 3 years, industry started trusting us, and we are pretty happy that new facilities in India are coming up in Bombay, in Mumbai, Hyderabad, and so on. And the logistics sector is also getting investments from across globe for the pharmaceutical sector. And in fact, when we started understanding the critical licensings, like when we talk about the regulatories, when we talk about the certifications, like when you can get a WHO GDP, good distribution practices warehouse in India, which will serve pharma. Not stopping there. In fact, I would recommend the Indian industries to go for EU GDP certifications, and that is where the value lies. You will unlearn what you know for the past 20, 30 years and learn what's needed right now in pharma to serve pharma. Certifications are very, very, very critical. Somebody was mentioning, does it make sense to outsource? I said, why not? Because our core competency and our complete focus lies in preserving your products in the best system, platform, ERPs, and so on. In fact, we also did lean management. We keep doing lean management program once in a couple of years to unlearn what we know and learn what's the new thing out there. Now, if a pharmaceutical industry goes out for a lean management of maybe some 25 or 50 of its accountabilities, there would be some X result. Now, if the cold storage industry go for a lean management for a 5-day or whatever, the complete focus will be on single platform, on handling pharmaceuticals in a cold storage facility. The value out there is much, much, much higher. So that's how we keep telling the world, it's time to outsource, time to outsource. Test it, and then get on board. In fact, we handled close to maybe 1.5 lakh pallets in the last maybe an year or so. That shows the industry that the volumes also can be achieved. It is always good to have a pharma QA team in place, a safety team in place to serve pharmaceuticals. Yeah, because your team needs to do MSDS too. In fact, such things allow or give the pharma companies a comfort when you have MSDS in place, when you have a pharma QA team in place. The pharma companies get a little comfort and, more importantly, trust on the Indian cold storage industry for them to take actions. In fact, it's an invitation to the people, the globe out there. Start looking at India. Bring your pharmacy, bring your drugs, bring your vaccines, bring your APIs. Take your APIs from us. Take APIs from us. We have got the best technology to handle your products. Logistics, warehouses, cold storages, and so on. Before I conclude, I would again like to thank Global Supply Chain Council for giving him an opportunity, and also remind the attendees there, please do ask questions such that I would be more than happy to reply back to you. I hope I have added some value. Thank you for listening to me, and namaskar.
Okay, great presentation. Thank you for sharing again. So I wanted to remind you that you can ask questions using the comment section right at the bottom of the screen. Have a look. We have already some delegates who are pushing some questions. The speaker is here to take your questions live. He or she will answer your questions after the live event during the replay. So if you are watching that session, outside the live event, don't worry, the speaker will come back and take your questions as well. The last thing also I want to remind you is to join our group on chain.net. You should have received an invitation already to join us. We create a special group specifically on cold chain within our network, chain.net. And using that group, you'll be able to continue interacting with the delegates. We'll be showing some content. And this is a way for us to stay in touch with you after the live event. So thank you very much. We'll see you on the next session.